He had everything that should have made him happy: a job, a family, a normal life. But every night he stared at the ceiling, feeling like something was missing. He couldn't explain it. It wasn't sadness, it wasn't stress. It was worse. It was emptiness. Like he was just drifting through life. Existing, not living. Until one ordinary morning, standing in front of the mirror, one quiet question shattered everything. Is this really all I'm meant for? That single thought led him on a journey most people never take. A journey that uncovered 6 powerful habits, the same ones used by the world's top performers, leaders, and legends. What are they? Why are they hidden in plain sight? And how can you use them before it's too late? Keep watching, because this story might awaken something inside you that's been asleep for far too long. He had everything a man is supposed to chase: a stable job, a decent paycheck, people around him who smiled when they saw him. From the outside, his life looked just fine, maybe even successful. But deep inside, he was tired. Not the kind of tired that sleep could fix. The kind that comes from doing too much of what doesn't matter. Each morning felt heavier than the last. The alarm would ring and he'd stare at the ceiling, already feeling behind, already feeling empty, like he was busy surviving, but not really living. And he couldn't remember the last time he felt excited to wake up. Then one morning he did something different. He didn't rush out of bed. He didn't grab his phone. He just sat there, quiet, still. And in that silence, a question came to him. Is this the life I was meant for? It was a soft question, but it hit like thunder. And for the first time, he didn't run from it. He let it echo inside. He started asking more. Why am I doing what I do? Do I even want this? Who am I really when no one's watching? He realized he didn't know the answers. And that was the problem. He had spent years running toward success, toward safety, toward approval, but never stopped to ask what he actually wanted. So he sat down with a pen and paper, no goals, no checklists, just one mission: to hear his own voice again. He wrote without thinking, about who he used to be, about the kind of person he wanted to become. Not just richer or more productive, but real, calm, kind, driven by purpose, not pressure. And slowly the fog began to clear. He didn't suddenly figure out his entire future, but he felt something shift. Direction, meaning, light. That's when he learned something no one had ever told him. You don't have to have all the answers to move forward. You just need to ask the right questions. And the first question is this: who am I really? When you know what matters to you, everything changes. You stop saying yes to things that drain you. You stop chasing goals that aren't yours. You stop living someone else's version of life. Instead, you begin to move with intention. You begin to live with alignment. You get clear about who you are, what you value, how you want to show up in the world, and what truly brings meaning to your days. And when you're clear, you become powerful. Not because life gets easier, but because you stop wasting your energy on things that don't deserve it. He didn't find clarity overnight, but once he began the search, he was never lost again. Not because he had everything figured out, but because he finally knew what mattered, and that changed everything. He had found a direction, finally, a glimpse of purpose, a sense of who he truly was and what he wanted from life. But there was a problem. He was too tired to chase it. Each morning, he opened his eyes and felt like he had already run a marathon. His body was there, but his mind was foggy. His heart felt heavy. Even with clarity, he had no energy to act on it. He thought it was just lack of sleep, so he slept more. It didn't help. He thought it was work, so he cut back. Still didn't help. Then he realized something deeper. His tiredness wasn't just physical. He was emotionally tired, mentally tired, spiritually tired. It wasn't just about rest. It was about the way he lived. So he started paying attention. He noticed how his phone drained him before he even got out of bed. How certain people left him feeling smaller, heavier, even if they smiled. How mindless scrolling gave him a quick hit, but left him empty inside. He realized he had been letting the world steal his energy, piece by piece, every single day. And so he made a choice. A quiet one, but a powerful one. He stopped checking his phone first thing in the morning. He began drinking water, not just for hydration, but for renewal. He went outside, not to escape, but to breathe. He moved his body again, not to punish it, but to feel alive in it. He started protecting his mind, replacing noise with stillness, replacing comparison with intention. He stopped giving his best hours to people who didn't value them. He started asking, does this give me energy or steal it? and little by little, he chose better. Soon, something changed. His mornings didn't feel heavy anymore. He wasn't dragging through the day, he was moving through it, with strength, with light, with presence. He smiled more, laughed more, felt more, and it wasn't because life got easier. It was because he got stronger. Energy isn't just given, it's created. It's protected, it's built by the tiny choices no one sees, but your soul feels. Most people are running on fumes. Too much input, too little recovery, too much pressure, too little joy. But those who live fully, they do something different. They don't just work harder. They fuel themselves. They prioritize joy. They protect their peace. They treat their energy like treasure, because it is. He used to feel powerless. Now he feels alive. Not because the world changed, but because he stopped letting the world drain him. He became the source. He became the fire. And that fire is what keeps him going. He had found his direction. He had built his energy. But something was still missing. Some days he felt strong, focused, alive. Other days he fell back into old patterns. Scrolling, delaying, doubting. He knew what he wanted. He knew how to get there. But he wasn't moving fast enough. He wasn't committed enough. That's when he saw the truth. Clarity and energy mean nothing if there's no fire behind them. One evening, he met an old friend, someone who once believed in him more than he believed in himself. They talked about life, purpose, and missed opportunities. And in the middle of their conversation, his friend looked him in the eye and said, "You're capable of so much more, so why are you still playing small?" That question hit him harder than anything else, because deep down, he knew. He had been holding back, waiting for the perfect moment, hiding behind preparation, when what he needed was urgency. That night, he went home, sat in the dark, and asked himself a question that changed everything. What if this was my last chance? What if there was no second try? What if he never got this time back? What if the people who needed his help never got it because he hesitated? And suddenly, it wasn't about him anymore. It was about the people counting on him, the ones watching, the ones he could serve, his younger self, his future self, his family, his purpose. This wasn't a dream anymore. This was a duty. And that's when the shift happened. He stopped treating his goals like options. He started treating them like obligations, like a promise he had to keep. He looked in the mirror and whispered, "You have to show up. You don't get to coast anymore." He started visualizing not just success, but the cost of failure, the regret, the missed impact, the disappointment in the mirror. And from that fire came discipline. He began showing up earlier, staying longer, saying no to excuses, saying yes to pressure. Because pressure, he realized, wasn't his enemy. It was his invitation to rise, to commit, to become something greater. Most people wait until life forces them to act. They wait for rock bottom. They wait for a breakdown. They wait until they have no choice. But those who live fully, they create that urgency themselves. They don't need a disaster to change. They choose to act like it matters. Because it does. He used to hope, now he commits. He used to wish, now he decides. And when things get hard, because they always do, he doesn't back down. Because he's no longer chasing a goal. He's fulfilling a mission. They say time is our most precious gift, yet so many of us waste it chasing things that don't matter. Imagine waking up each day, busy from morning till night, yet by the end of the day you feel like you've achieved nothing. You're exhausted, but not fulfilled. You're active, but not advancing. That's because being busy isn't the same as being productive. Productivity is about clarity. It's about focusing on what truly moves your life forward. It's not about doing more things, it's about doing the right things. Think of it this way, you have only so many hours in a day. You can either spend them answering endless messages, stuck in small tasks, checking your phone every 5 minutes, or you can spend them building something meaningful, something that actually pushes your goals ahead. The most successful people in the world don't work more hours. They simply use their energy and time on the things that matter most. They know what their key goals are. They know which actions give the biggest results. And they say no to distractions, even when it's hard. They protect their mornings. They batch their work. They don't multitask. They focus. Because real progress doesn't come from chaos. It comes from intention. So ask yourself, what truly matters in your life? What are you doing right now that's just keeping you busy? And what are you doing that's actually making your dreams real? You don't need to do everything. You just need to do what matters most, deeply, deliberately, and consistently. That is true productivity. There's a quiet power that lives in people who don't just speak, but who move others with their words. We've all met someone like that. Someone who walks into the room and suddenly people listen. Not because they're loud, not because they force attention, but because they've earned trust. They've earned respect. Influence is not about controlling others. It's about connection. It's about showing people that you care enough to understand them and bold enough to help them grow. You can't inspire others if they don't feel safe with you. You can't lead if no one believes you walk your talk. Real influence is built slowly, through honesty, kindness, and consistency. It's built when you lift people up instead of tearing them down. It grows when people see you, not as perfect, but as real, as someone who believes deeply in what they say and lives it out daily. And the more you help others see their own potential, the more they begin to believe in yours. So think about this. Who are you influencing right now? Not just with your words, but with your actions. Are you the kind of person others want to follow, or just someone trying to be right? Because the greatest leaders are never just followed. They are trusted, respected, and remembered. Influence begins with who you are, not what you demand. And when you lead with heart, others will follow with faith. There comes a moment in everyone's life when fear whispers, "Stay quiet." But courage shouts back, "Speak." Most people don't lack talent, they lack the bravery to use it. They have dreams tucked inside their hearts like fragile paper, never unfolded, never shared, because the world might judge. But what if the world applauds? What if the world is waiting for you to go first? Courage doesn't mean you aren't scared. It means you move despite the fear. It's standing up when your voice shakes. It's showing your truth when it's easier to stay silent. It's choosing to try one more time when quitting seems safer. Think of every person who's ever changed the world. They weren't born with more luck. They just decided their voice mattered, their vision mattered, their life mattered. You won't always have applause. You won't always feel ready. But if you never step forward, the world will never know your light. Courage is not something we wait to feel. It's something we choose to be, every single day. So, will you stay small to stay safe? Or will you dare to show up, even if your hands tremble and your knees shake? Because the world doesn't need more perfection. It needs more people willing to be real, bold, and brave. At the heart of it, these 6 habits aren't just about success. They're about living with intention. When you're clear about who you are, when you generate real energy, and when you feel a deep sense of purpose, you stop drifting. You start leading your life. You focus on what truly matters. You influence others with authenticity. And most importantly, you find the courage to act, speak, and live boldly. In my opinion, these habits are not just strategies. They're a way to rise above average every single day. If this video inspired you, don't stop here. We've created more powerful videos just like this. Check the links in the description and keep growing. And if you found value in this, hit that like button, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe to our channel for more life-changing content. This is just the beginning. Let's keep rising together.